Sorry, I've been trying to film this on Twitch and I've just had some technical difficulties. So if you're in the live chat while I've been filming this, I'm sorry. There's not usually people here anyways, but we're going to get into the reading for the second half of Taurus season. So if you're not familiar, I do collective readings for each of the zodiacal or astrological seasons, and whenever we move into a new season, I'll do a check-in for the first 2 weeks, and then I'll do a check-in for the second 2 weeks. So we're getting to the midpoint of Taurus season. I've done a rainbow spread and pulled some messages with the tarot and also some of my cards, and then at the end we're going to get into the oracle cards as well. But before we do that, definitely give this video a like. If you like this and want to follow along for more content in the future, subscribe as well. Leave your comments down below what you're feeling with this energy, second half of Taurus season, how you're experiencing this, how you're moving through this. And then also I wanted to invite you all to check out my Ko-Fi page, and the link is in the description of all of my videos here on YouTube. But on that page, you can kind of see my work. I do upload the channel notes that I take for when I do these readings. You could also donate or tip me there if you feel so inclined to. That way you can help support me as I, continue to put out these messages and this content, which, is really for me. Like I feel like I have to make this content and put these messages out, but if you do all those engagement things with social media, that really helps, get this out there and expands the reach that I can have, and who can see this message, who might need to hear the messages that are coming through here. So we're gonna get into the rainbow spread for the second half of Taurus season. One, I wanted to say there's a lot of court cards that are coming through, which I'm excited about because, court cards really show us what we're doing and kind of which element that we're working through as far as air, water, fire, and earth, right? And then also they kind of show us like proficiency within those suits or within those elements and kind of how we're navigating our external circumstances. I'm thinking I'm gonna end up calling this video Redefining Perspective and Reclaiming My Time, because I also see a lot of water, a lot of fire, which is really soulful. I always say water and fire knows exactly what they want and exactly how they want to feel. And this week is pretty reflective for us to kind of recenter and tap back into kind of what is authentic and move forward with that and shift some rhythms, shift some routines, right? So the first section of the rainbow spread is the life section. I see this as the main energy, the main situation that we're stepping into as a collective for the next 2 weeks of Taurus season, right? So what came up, we have this Queen of Flags, which is the Queen of Swords, and we have the Eye of the Storm, which is the King of Cups in my deck, right? So the interesting thing, I love that this is coming up as this first position, because with the Queen and the King, it really shows us kind of how we are asserting our energy at this time and where our reflective or receptive energy is at as well. So second half of Taurus season, we are asserting ourselves with this King of Cups, meaning that we are desiring to create some type of regulation emotionally in regards to feeling turbulent in our external circumstances, right? In addition to the Queen of Swords, this is about our thoughts. This is about our perception and how we kind of create logical meaning of our reality, right? There is turbulence emotionally, energetically. It could be mental as well. But we are trying to review our own personal thought processes, right? Our own way that we've defined meaning within our life, and wanting to get that into accordance mentally and energetically, as far as like emotional turbulence and having our needs met and all of that, right? This first section is really bringing up to me that saying the definition of insanity is living on repeat and expecting things to change. And I really think this is speaking a lot to that type of energy, because we are navigating, or we probably have been navigating, the challenges, the struggles, the difficulty externally with the same mindset, with the same beliefs from the past, and that hasn't been helping, right? So now we have to look inward and figure out how maybe some of those narratives or those experiences that have crafted our perception and our truth, how do those continue to kind of exasperate the difficulty and the dysregulation that we are experiencing in our current circumstance, right? Moving into this next position, this is the healing position, and I see this as how we are taking action, how we are moving this energy for the time period, the second half of Taurus season. We've got the Elder of Lanterns in the reverse, which is the King of Wands in the reverse. And then we have the I'm in here in the reverse, which is the Four of Cups in my deck. So I'm immediately already connecting this King of Wands here in the reverse and the King of Cups that was in this first position, right? Where the second half of Taurus season is asking us as a collective to really step forward in regards to regulating our emotional turbulence with our lived reality, our lived circumstance right now. But the thing is that turbulence is really speaking through this challenge or difficulty with the King of Wands in the reverse. So Wands, it's fire, it's the things that we are passionate about, our personal desires, it's charisma, it's physical energy, it is also our personal creative expression and how we shine, how we show ourselves externally, right? A lot of us have been feeling challenged this way, whether we're feeling tired, don't have enough energy to really move forward with the things that we desire. Some of us are kind of holding back our personal expression and our creative energy. Some of us are feeling feeling at distance with kind of how we desire to express ourselves and what we think that we need to show up as in order to fit in, right? Because we have this I'm in here, this Four of Cups in the reverse, and sometimes this is about feeling at a distance from a space of connection, from a space of support, community, you know what I mean? But also, in regards to energy levels, this could be a lot of us who are feeling tired, you know what I mean? Feeling like our physical energy is a little bit diminished, but we may not be adequately caring for ourselves and nurturing ourselves so that we can sustain kind of our passion and our energetic levels to show up for that to our fullest potential, When I'm seeing this King of Wands in the reverse and the Four of Cups in the reverse, I definitely see a lot of people who kind of have communities or spaces that they show up in, which provide a sense of validation, but it's almost like, there is a way that you're performing to fit in, and there is some authentic need, some authentic emotional truth that's not fully being met. Simply because of the fact that you feel like you have to perform to even be held in this space, right? Within this community. So this is the big tension with a lot of us, definitely with this Queen of Swords. Some of us may be trying to fit into spaces where we don't even belong. And some of us may be kind of needing to shift perspective in regards to what is actually fulfilling for us, or what is actually pouring water back into our cup, right? Because we could go so hard on passionately chasing these desires, any creative projects or ways that we want to put ourselves out there, but then not really coming back authentically, into ourselves and being okay, well, I want to do this, and I want to put my energy in this space, but I actually maybe shouldn't go out there, or maybe I should take more time or more stillness to just refill my own cup, so that I can keep showing up in the way that I want to, There's a performative quality here that I'm trying to kind of get, trying to put forward or explain, where it's you do these things just for this sense of validation, but it actually tires you out at the end, or you do these things for because you are trying to hold up this image that people, have of you, but then, it's not actually true, and they interact with you based on this image, and because of that, there are some authentic parts of you that don't get met. So this is kind of what we are working through with this second half of Taurus season. It's like, one, changing your perspective in regards to your emotional needs and what is actually fulfilling and what is actually satisfying. And then two, wanting to make sure that you are using your energy and putting yourself out there in spaces that authentically like pour back into you, or refill your cup. There is a self-care aspect to this all as well that could be prominent for some of us. So the next position is the sunlight, and this is any highlights, any achievements, any successes that we can look forward to during this time period. And what's coming through first and foremost is we have a 7 of lanterns and a 7 of cups, right? So this number 7 is really, really prominent, where, sevens, they're kind of liminal in a particular way. I feel like the 7 of wands may be the only 7 that is not super liminal, where there's a little bit more movement or a little bit more action there. But with this 7 of cups and this 7 of wands, I'm really, really, really seeing this contrast between our energetic levels and what is actually fulfilling us on a deep level. With the 7 of wands, this could be like when you're feeling really busy, when you feel like you have so many things that require your time and require your energy, and you are trying to hit all of them, right? But then the 7 of cups is this energy of seeking like regulation or seeking fulfillment. The 7 of cups isn't always like a sustainable or consistent source of support, and so that's why you keep coming back into this type of seeking energy with this 7, where it doesn't quite fill the void because it's not fully authentic, right? So if we're moving through this story here where we're trying to shift our perspective and our perception of what is truly fulfilling and what is just performance or what is just novelty, it comes to this 7 of wands, 7 of cups energy, where it's like, if it was like the 7 of wands, it's like you are feeling like you have to show up for all these things that you're performing for. You're trying to keep up this act, or you're trying to like save face in all of these spaces where you put on this image of yourself to feel validated. Then it becomes this like 7 of wands, 7 of cups energy, where you're just like, okay, I said that I would do this, or I portrayed myself as this particular way, and now people are expecting me to show up like that. But then it's just like, do I actually want to show up? Is it actually fulfilling? You show up and do this thing, and then you get the validation in that moment, but then you have to do it again later. You know what I mean? You have to continuously show up in this way to continuously get this type of validation or feel accepted in this space. And if it's not real, it's going to feel like this. It's going to feel like, oh my God, I have to, I have all these things, and I don't know if I have the energy to show up for all of them. For other people, it's like, you have a lot of things that you're excited about. You have a lot of things creatively that you put your energy out there for. But then some of them are just novelty, right? Or some of them are just like little hits of validation that feel good in the moment, but they don't really sustain, or they could even diminish your energy in the long term, right? It's like, oh, I have this creative project that I know I need to work for, but also somebody just invited me to this thing, and I know that's going to be fun. And, you do that, and you realize that you don't actually have enough energy after that to really adequately show up for your personal creative interests or your creative projects or desires that, are meaningful, like for you on a deep level, In addition to these two 7s, I got the How I Roll card, which is the 8 of Wands. And this is about flow. This is about natural energy flow, kind of feeling like, as far as moving through and moving with your passion and moving through your desire, like it's uninhibited. You know what I mean? There's no restrictions, there's no limitations, there's no holding yourself back, right? So to have this Eight of Wands here with the Seven of Wands and the Seven of Cups, this sunlight portion, this time period of the second half of Taurus season, it's going to be really revealing for what we actually put our energy out there, and what keeps us sustained, right? Because there could be so many things, and even with the Seven of Cups, there could be distractions too. You know, sometimes it could be drinking or drugs, or you know, any of those things that kind of help us dissociate from the turbulence energetically or emotionally, you know, but they don't actually meet the need that is desiring to be met, you know what I mean, that wants to be fulfilled on an authentic level. So yeah, this combination, this Eight of Wands, Seven of Wands, Seven of Cups, is like finally becoming more aware of the different sources that we dip our energy into that don't actually pour back into us, or you know, they're just temporary, or they're just distractions, and they actually take away from our ability to kind of use our energy uninhibited, or use our energy in its best way, or keep it sustained even, you know. So I want to move into the next section here. We've got the nature, and I view this as how we can stay grounded at this time. So we pulled the Two of Lanterns, Two of Wands, and this is what happy feels like in the reverse, which is the Nine of Cups in the reverse in my deck. So in order to keep ourselves grounded at this time, while we are shifting our perspective, one, mentally, and trying to make different decisions in regards to the ways that we are desiring to honor our energy levels, one, and but also like our emotional needs and kind of our personal identities or personal, you know, passions or desires. In regards to, you know, moving through this shift, I'm seeing there's going to be a lot of tension, right? A lot of tension energetically, like within your physical body, like nervous system wise, and also emotionally, where we can't ignore the sensitivity anymore, especially with this Nine of Cups in the reverse. It's like whatever we've been settling on, or whatever, you know, emotional needs that we've kind of held repressed for a long time, they kind of boiled over, you know, they've overflown. And now, like, we're needing to use that sensitivity and be still with that long enough to know what our next actions should be, or to know where we need to direct our energy in order to, one, be in alignment with our passions and the things that excite us and the things that, you know, light our fire and fill us with purpose. But also, two, you know, the things that are going to pour into my cup, the things that are going to fill me up and make me feel deeply satisfied, deeply fulfilled. Cups could even be about like safety, like there is a need to like feel emotionally safe and emotionally nurtured, you know? So in order to ground ourselves and know exactly what is right for us and what is the right direction to, you know, move forward with, there is a need to kind of consider what is inspiring you right now, you know, or what is lighting your fire. When you are deciding which actions that you're going to take, are you looking at things that are, they seem fun, they seem novel, and they seem exciting, but they're really temporary, and they possibly need like constant reassurance or constant like reinvigorating to like keep it going? And also, does it make you feel like you're settling on a true emotional need at the same time, right? Or are the things that are inspiring you or lighting you up right now, are they authentic? Do they also pour into your cup and fulfill you on a deep level? It's not just novelty, but it is something that is deeply aligned with our authentic sense of self, our authentic way that we creatively express and show up. There was something that I wrote in my notes that I think was important for this section here. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. It says, consider which actions or directions add to your fire and fills your cup versus what requires frequent external validation and also feels like you have to settle or compromise on your needs, right? Or, these things that you're going towards or using your energy towards, do they actually refill your energy after, it's diminished in a way, if that makes sense, It's kind of like going back to this example up here with like the 7 of Cups and the 7 of Wands. It's like, oh, you have an authentic creative project that you really want to, work on. But then also you have other like social things that, people are like, come to this party or whatever. And then you go to this party and then you're just tired and you don't have any energy to work on what is actually yours, Those are the things to pay attention to. Those are the things to focus on the second half of Taurus season, because we are really trying to, rewire our minds and make sure that we're taking those actions and making those decisions that are authentic to us and really, continue to help us develop our, I was going to say like energetic container, and that thought is coming to my mind because we're getting to this next section, but there's just a personal kind of path or an ego desire or purpose that we all have, and we can move closer to those things, and they're authentic and they're specific for us, and it doesn't have to be the same thing that somebody else wants. So I don't know. I hope that makes sense. Let's go to the next section, which is the what do you call it? Serenity. This is how you can cultivate more peace, or how we can cultivate more peace within the second half of Taurus season. We got the Child of Plants, and then we have the Home Base card, which is the 4 of Pentacles. Child of Plants is the Page of Pentacles, right? So going back to that kind of concept of energetic container. When I see the 4 of Pentacles, this reminds me of like foundations, or a safe space, or kind of like a baseline for building towards like long-term goals, right? I really feel for some of us within this collective message, this is about, our physical body and making sure that we are, tending to that adequately and kind of developing this new baseline or foundation, so that we can have a space to come back to that keeps us solid. You know what I mean? It gives us a platform or a launching point for achieving our goals and achieving our desires, right? So if that's your physical body, that's making sure that you're nurturing it properly, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, getting enough rest, eating the right food, all of that, so that your energy levels remain consistent to, really show up for your creative endeavors. If this is not, your body, this really is like your emotional space, right? And making sure that kind of you are solidifying this alignment with your emotional needs, so that you know how to adequately use your energy in your external reality, right? So if your internal container emotionally is solid, then you know what you need to be satisfied and fulfilled, and what feels safe and what feels sustainable, right, emotionally. If you feel safe within yourself, then situations outside of you cannot manipulate you, right? They cannot make you perform identity. They can't make you perform passion and creativity, right? There is a amazing strength that comes within being solid within yourself and feeling comfortable with walking your own path, or building towards your own goals. You don't need people outside of you to tell you that that's the right thing to do, or to tell you that this is a cool thing, or that it's fun or exciting. It just is yours, And so, as we're cultivating peace, personally, within the second half of Taurus season, realize that, this is our first time that we're really nurturing and building a foundation for ourselves, or a home base, or a platform for ourselves that is going to once again provide this container, provide this this rock for us to stand on. There's a solid base, a solid foundation for us to grow in the direction that we desire to grow. So we're going to move to the last section. This is the energy of spirit. So I see this section as any messages that spirit wants to put forward to us at this time, any awareness that we need to know, or possible best advice on how to use our energy moving forward. And we've got the winds of change, and we have the 5 of flags. So this is the Wheel of Fortune, and then this is the 5 of Swords. We also have the Padam card, which is the Ace of Cups. Padam is, a reference to the Kylie Minogue song Padam Padam, which she explains that the word Padam, it's not a real word, but it's supposed to represent like a heartbeat, like the sound of the heart beating. So, there is a new heartbeat. There is a new emotional truth that is being aligned with and being honored right now. But I am looking at this Winds of Change and this 5 of Flags, and it's really showing me that if we are consistently showing up for ourselves the second half of Taurus season and doing that work to shift our perspective and to shift kind of our actions and the choices that we make, definitely in regards to how we fulfill ourselves, or what we consider to be fulfilling or satisfying, there is profound shift that we experience in our external reality, right? The work that is that we're moving through this week is very internal, but it makes a big shift on our external experience because we've aligned with a new truth. We allow any circumstances or situations to show up as they are. We're not trying to fight them with some former perspective or some former truth that, we have developed our identity within up until now. We allow everything to show up as it is, and we allow ourselves to forge new perspective, forge new truth, forge new meaning that is in accordance with our heart space, that is in accordance with our emotional center and our emotional truth. It could be that in the past, it just felt hard to allow circumstances to show up and not want to control a perspective or control someone's understanding of you, or how someone sees you, right? But there is this big shift where we're realizing that we can't, those are things that we can't control. You know what I mean? There are certain things that we cannot control, and the only thing that we do have control of is our own mind, is our own perception, is our own truth. And, do you use your perceptive quality or your, energy of logic to fight your emotion and to repress that and to hold that back to be validated externally? Or do you use your logic and your perception to fight for your heart and to honor your emotional truth and to honor your emotional needs, so that way you're always showing up authentically. And because of that, the external reality shifts in a way where you're no longer being challenged, right? Because you're not trying to fight it. You're not trying to control what is coming to you, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? You're at peace with yourself, so that means that you can be at peace with what's happening outside of you, because you're not trying to control what's outside of you. You are solidifying your comfortability and your safety and your understanding of yourself. So that is the power of Taurus season, or the second half of Taurus season, and what is within our capacity at this time. So quick recap, we step into this energy with the Queen of Swords and the King of Cups, where our action or our desire is to get regulated with the kind of turbulence that we're feeling emotionally, and how our own kind of perspective adds to that, dysregulation, right? We move into the healing section, and this is really taking the time to sit within the emotional disappointment or the emotional distance that we feel from our creative potential or our self-expression or our physical energy levels. You know what I mean? It's like whatever disappointment or challenge or struggle that we've been feeling here, there is a stillness that is required to understand what need is not being met or where you're not being fully satisfied. Moving into the sunlight, the highlights that we can expect the next 2 weeks, we've got the Seven of Wands, the Seven of Cups, and the Eight of Wands. So this is really the attention to our natural energy, our natural energetic flow, and our natural creative flow, right? There is much more awareness on the sources that, maybe they might be exciting and novel, but they don't replenish us, or they diminish our actual energy, and they diminish our ability to actually be aligned with the authentic expression or the authentic creative projects or the authentic desires that we truly want to show up for. But, sometimes we feel like we have to perform for, external acceptance or external, validation. Moving into the grounding energy, Two of Wands, we have the Nine of Cups in the reverse. This is making sure whatever actions or whatever decisions or opportunities that we're moving forward with, they're in alignment with our natural energetic capacity and with our authentic creative expression. How we can cultivate more peace. Page of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles. Listen, we're learning to nurture and build a new baseline, a new foundation for how we're growing and the new goals that we're desiring to move towards. If you are desiring to really individuate and kind of express yourself in a new way that is different than how you've been performing in the past, this is about kind of developing your energetic container and feeling happy with the choices that you make and the actions that you take, even if other people kind of diminish that. And if you have been feeling energetically tired, or like you're not quite in alignment with your physical body, this is creating a new foundation or baseline for your energetic levels, right? And making sure that you have a self-care routine that pours back into you and really replenishes your energy so that you can show up to the best of your abilities for your projects and your desires. So last but not least, message from Spirit, the Winds of Change, Wheel of Fortune, and the Five of Swords and the Ace of Cups. Listen, You're crafting a new perspective. You're forging a new reality, you know? And if you can engage with what is and step away from the former truth, the former narrative, you'll be able to really see the external shifts in your reality, in the situations that you felt like you couldn't control. You're not meant to control them. You're meant to control how you respond to them, you know? So if you're responding within your heart space and making the actions that truly fulfill you on a deep emotional level, then you're able to see how your external reality shifts, or even just your perception of your external reality shifts in regards to what you can control, what you can't control, whether you feel like you are lucky or experiencing good karma, or whether you feel like you are lower or, you know, not experiencing the things that you desire. It's all in here, but it's also in here, you know? So don't let these two parts of you fight each other. It's about integrating them and aligning them. So we're going to finish off with the Oracle cards. I had already pulled the Crystal Barbie. And the message from the Crystal Barbie says, 1983's Crystal Barbie is one of the most glamorous Barbie dolls ever, which is really saying something. In her iridescent gown and matching ruffled cape, she simply shines. Over the years, Barbie has taught us that there's no limit to your potential, and the world is what you make it. You have the power to make things happen and to create your own destiny. Today, take a cue from the sparkling icon herself and set an intention for your next decade, big or small. Then approach the future with a laser focus on making those dreams come true. What can you do today to get closer to your goals? It all starts with that first step. I really feel like this Barbie really emphasizes and, you know, exemplifies how powerful it is to kind of take your reality into your own hands, you know? There is kind of a perception that we create of the world, and where we feel like it's our job to kind of do everything. You know what I mean? Whenever we meet a challenge or an obstacle, we feel like you have to break it down yourself, and that's really just not the case, you know? There is something truly powerful about knowing what is you and what's not you, and what is yours to take care of and what is not yours to take care of. And I feel like this is truly a moment where we can like align and become more clear on what that is for each of us individually. You know what I mean? Because it's not the same for everyone. Like, our reality in our life is not a one path fits all. So what is your path? You know, what authentically lights you up? And do you do that? You know? Okay, so from the animal spirits, let's pull in here, see what is coming through for us. Second half of Taurus season with the animal spirits. And this is our last card. Got the fish. Alright, so I've pulled this card a few times since I've been using this deck, and you know, I'm pretty sure the fish has to do with the want for energy to always be like in motion. So it says, fish, restlessness, change of focus, lost in the current. The fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, movement, and more movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but it usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend some time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. When in balance, it's adaptable and it travels well. When out of balance, it's distracted and it changes its mind often. To bring it to balance, set a small goal and accomplish it. Okay, that's funny because I'm pretty sure the Barbie card also said set a small goal. It's like a goal big or large, big or small, and to take those steps, right? But the main thing that I was seeing with the fish energy, it spoke about being lost in the current. And that is really about, that's really reflecting on what this energy is with the Queen of Swords and the King of Cups. We really want to stabilize ourselves so that we're no longer lost in the current, especially when it comes to our emotional states and our physical energetic levels, right? It said something about movement. I already closed the passage, sorry. It says, the roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. That's this. You know what I mean? Wanting to show up for these things because it's exhilarating, but, you know, if it's not authentic, and it's not actually fulfilling us on a deep level, then you just become weary. You know, you can't show up for these things anymore because the external validation doesn't last long enough to keep you going, you know? So there is some stillness that needs to be had. There is some kind of stillness, some calm, some internal reflection that needs to be had in order for you to, in order for us as a collective to become certain on where we're meant to go, where our energy is meant to move. And so that is the message for the second half of Taurus season. I also channel some songs as well, and I usually forget to put them forward, but the two songs that I had for this one was Tell a Lie by Dresses and What I've Done by Linkin Park. So if you made it this far, definitely check out those songs because it could be meaningful for you at this time. And yeah, once again, like if this resonated with you or helped you kind of get some awareness on how the energy of these next 2 weeks is asking us to engage, definitely like this, comment down below, you know, what you're experiencing, subscribe to follow for more, check out my Ko-Fi page if you want to support me and, you know, keep me lifted to show up and put out these messages. That is also super appreciated. But I'm gonna get out of here. And I'll see y'all for the next one. Bye.